Elite Facts presents
8 people who turned themselves into creatures and monsters. 8. The Lizardman. If you thought this guy was called the Lizardman because he owns a lot of lizards, well, you're wrong. He's called the Lizardman because he is a lizard. Where was this guy when they were filming The Amazing Spider-Man? Well, anyway, Eric Sprague found fame and fortune by turning himself into a sideshow freak. And yes, that is an actual occupation. Sprague went under the knife for several different and drastic body modifications, including sharpening his teeth, getting his entire body tattooed to look like he has green scales, a bifurcated tongue, subdermal implants, and recently, green-inked lips. As we mentioned, the Lizardman makes his living as a freak, performing before audiences all over the world. He also makes numerous paid television and public appearances. He regularly performs many classic sideshow acts like the human blockhead, fire-eating and breathing, gavage, sword-swallowing, the bed of nails, the human dartboard, the cranial corkscrew, and the insectivore. He also participates in many public and private flesh hook suspension groups and events, and is highly involved in the body modification community.
7.
The Dragon Lady. Here we have yet another person who has undergone drastic body modifications. Eva Tiamat Baphomet Medusa, or Tiamat for short, was a trans woman who finally decided at the age of 55 that it was time to jump into the body modification scene and become a dragon. She forked her tongue, removed her ears, modified her nose, removed some of her teeth, and dyed her eyeballs. On top of all that, she also had horns implanted in her forehead, and she got a full face tattoo, complete with colorful scales. On her website, she says she is, quote, becoming a reptoid and, quote, leaving humanness behind. Talk about a midlife crisis.
6.
The Human Dalmatian. Okay, so this one isn't a permanent change to this person's appearance, but the fact that he goes around in a full costume acting like a Dalmatian is enough to get him on this list. In 2016, Tom from Hertfordshire visited ITV's This Morning under his preferred guise as a Dalmatian named Spot. Tom/Spot has spent more than $5,000 on a costume that allows him to actually live his life as a dog. When he goes into what he calls dog mode, he plays fetch, sleeps in a cage, and eats real dog food and treats. According to Tom, the reason he decided to do this in his free time is because it's a way for him to turn off the part of his brain that worries about strictly human concerns like bills and deadlines. Quote, it means being able to escape from life and day-to-day business. It's a chance to unwind and clear the mind. We do it as children, why not as adults? Well, if you're looking for sanity, you're barking up the wrong tree with this guy.
5.
The man who was a woman who was also a fox. Yeah, try and wrap your head around that one. Murad Ali spends around 12 hours a day in the Karachi Zoo in Pakistan dressed as a woman who is also, in turn, dressed as the mythical figure known as Mumtaz Begum, a part woman, part fox. Yeah, it's hard to imagine, so good thing we have pictures to give you a better idea of what he or she, it, I don't know, whatever it looks like. Ali is the latest in a line of male actors that have portrayed this fox for the entertainment and education of zoo visitors. Men play this character instead of women because, quote, men are able to respond better to harassment and negative comments. School children visit her regularly to ask her questions and receive guidance on their destiny.
4.
The Stalking Cat. Before we get into all of the body modifications on this one, let's take a brief look at the man before he made such a rash decision. As an adult, he joined the Navy as a sonar technician. He left his Navy post around 1981, and he then began working as a computer programmer and a technician in San Diego, California. During the early 1980s, he started transitioning into the stalking cat. Over the course of several years, he got extensive tattooing, including facial tattooing, and surgeries that included subdermal facial implants to change the shape of his brow, forehead, and the bridge of his nose, flattening his nose via septum relocation, silicone injection in his lips, cheeks, chin, and other parts of his face, bifurcating or splitting his upper lip, filling and capping his teeth, surgically shaping his ears, making them pointed and his earlobes elongated, surgical hairline modification, piercing his upper lip, and transdermal implants on his forehead to facilitate the wearing of whiskers. He also wears green contact lenses with slit irises and a robotic tail to round off the whole look. He's really the cat's meow now.
3.
The Incredible Hulk. The incredibly overinflated muscles we see in superhero comic books simply aren't attainable by ordinary human beings, no matter how much weight you can lift. Bodybuilders have been turning to human growth hormones and other less than savory solutions for a while, but Brazilian Roberto dos Santos Alves took it to a whole new level. If you haven't already guessed, he is clearly inspired by the Incredible Hulk. Roberto injected a mixture of oil and alcohol into his biceps to increase their size to gamma-irradiated levels. The end result is quite disturbing, to say the least, and thankfully Dos Santos Alves has decided to move away from such extreme measures in his quest for a superhero body.
2.
An elf. We think it's safe to say that the fantasy world of J.R.R. Tolkien is a pillar of modern geek culture, and it's not surprising to find fans who want to live in it. But model Melinda Moon took things a little farther than most. Inspired by the regal and powerful elves from the Lord of the Rings fantasy novels, Moon went to a plastic surgeon and asked him to give her ears their signature point. The surgeon removed a triangular piece from the top of her ear and sutured the two sides together, creating an unmistakably elfin look. According to her, her ears were pretty itchy following the modification, but we guess that's a small price to pay to look like Legolas. Admittedly, it's nowhere near the worst on this list, but that is quite a bit of dedication to actually go through with something like that, especially when you make your living as a model.
1.
The Red Skull. This may be the most insane one of them all. While we wouldn't class this one as a monster, it is something pretty non-human, and it definitely deserves a mention. While it's not uncommon for people to undergo surgery to look like the people they idolize, Henry Damon took things way, way too far. The now terrifying Venezuelan man's personal icon is the Captain America villain, the Red Skull. And if you read the comic books, or if you've seen the movie, then you know that the Red Skull is the last person anyone should idolize. To look more like the infamous super criminal, Damon has had dermal implants in his forehead and scleral tattooing to make his eyes featureless black pits. The big thing, though, is the nose. Our new skull here had the front section removed, leaving two ragged vertical nostrils. Throw in red skin tattooing all over his face, and you've got a guy seriously committed to villainy. This dude is just downright creepy. And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you know about? Let us know in the comments below, and please remember to subscribe and tap that bell button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching another amazing video, folks. Subscribe for more from Elite Facts.